YouTube. Good evening, YouTube. It's my thing I say, good evening, YouTube. Um, I'm happy I got back in a good mood because I was not in a good mood um, recently. Why won't my live show? Who did they pay at YouTube for my lives not to show? This is crazy. This is nuts. My lives do not show. Oh, there you go. It's impossible to get in the live if you go on the channel. You can't get into the live that way. Wow. This is crazy. Okay, now you can see it. Anyway, YouTube. So, back again. I used to make this joke. I know it's not true because I know that I have not been black every lifetime. I don't believe I have for a second. But every time I used to say back again, and then they're gonna make me black again. I wasn't. I don't think I was black last lifetime for sure. I don't feel that. Um, I don't know why. I don't know if anybody has past life memories. But they're real. They're real. I want to talk about some very interesting stuff, but at the end of this video. And I think it'll give some nice perspective to a lot of the ascension journey, a lot of things that have happened here, things that people maybe like don't believe. Um, I think that there are people who engage in the spirit world, they believe just enough to like get things done, do some spell work and get things done like that. And then there's other people who believe in like past lives, and they believe in like, you know, mythological things and things of that nature. So it's like it's a mixed bag. I'm one who believes all the way in everything and all of it. So first things first, I have to read the Bible. Yes, we have to make sure that we get our Bible verse in because it is very important to me. And even though I'm not, well, it's not a Christian book anyway, but it's very closely associated with Christianity. I really love reading the Bible. It was not always like this. When I was younger, it wasn't that it was so much a chore, but it was like work. And now it's like I resonate with it. So it very accurately describes what I feel. So tonight I'm reading Psalms 119, Abide in God's Word. It's a longer one, but I want to read it because it's how it's the mood right now. So it says, "Blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walk in the law of the Lord. Blessed are they that keep thy testimonies and that seek him with the whole heart. They also do no iniquity. They walk in his ways. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. And I had to look up the word precepts because it came up a number of times in this passage. And a precept is any commandment, instruction, or order intended as a rule of action or conduct, especially a practical rule guiding behavior, technique, etc. In the scriptures, the word which is translated precept is a general term for the responsibility God places upon his people. So these are precepts. So it's called like a code of conduct. Where am I? Oh, that my ways were directed to keep thy statutes. Let me start again. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep thy statutes. Then shall I not be ashamed when I have respect unto all thy commandments. I will praise thee with uprightness of heart. When I shall have learned thy righteous judgments, I will keep thy statutes. O forsake me not utterly. Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? And they're saying, it's like, how can a young man cleanse the way he lives? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. With my whole heart have I sought thee. O let me not wander from thy commandments. Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. Blessed art thou, O Lord, teach me thy statutes. And with my lips have I declared all the judgments of thy mouth. I have rejoiced in the way of thy testimonies as much as in all riches. I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. I will delight myself in thy statutes. I will not forget thy word. It says again, I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. I will delight myself in thy statutes. I will not forget thy word. Deal bountifully with thy servant, that I may live and keep thy word. Open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. I am a stranger in the earth, hide not thy commandments from me. My soul breaketh for the longing that it hath unto thy judgments at all times. My soul breaketh for the longing that it hath unto thy judgments at all times. Thou hast rebuked the proud that are cursed, which do err from thy commandments. Remove from me reproach and contempt, for I have kept thy commandments. Princes also did sit and speak against me, but thy servant did meditate in thy statutes. Thy testimonies are my delight and my counselors. Thou testimonies also are my delight and my counselors. My soul cleaveth unto the dust. Quicken thou me according to thy word. I have declared my ways, and thou heardest me. Teach me thy statutes. Make me to understand the way of thy precepts, so shall I talk of thy wondrous works. My soul melteth for heaviness. Strengthen thou me according unto thy word. Remove from me the way of lying, and grant me thy law graciously. I have chosen the way of truth. Thy commandments have I laid before me. I have stuck unto thy testimonies. O Lord, put me not to shame. I will run the way of thy commandments when thou shalt enlarge my heart. Teach me, O Lord, the way of thy statutes, and I shall keep it unto the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep thy law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Make me to go in the path of thy commandments, for herein do I delight. Incline my heart unto thy testimonies, and not to covetousness. Turn away my eyes from beholding vanity, and quicken thou me in thy way. Establish thy word unto thy servant, who is devoted to thy fear. Turn away my reproach which I fear, for thy judgments are good. Behold, I have longed after thy precepts. Quicken me in thy righteousness. Let thy mercies come also unto me, O Lord, even thy salvation, and according to thy word. So shall I have wherewith to answer him that reproacheth me, for I trust in thy word. And take not the word of truth utterly out of my mouth, for I have hoped in thy judgments. And take not the word of truth utterly out of my mouth, for I have hoped in thy judgments. So shall I keep thy law continually forever and ever, and I will walk at liberty, for I seek thy precepts. I will speak of thy testimonies also before kings, and will not be ashamed. And I will delight myself in thy commandments, which I have loved. My hands also will I lift up unto thy commandments, which I have loved, and I will meditate in thy statutes. Remember the word unto thy servant, upon which thou hast caused me to hope. This is my favorite one in here. Remember the word unto thy servant, upon which thou hast caused me to hope. This is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word have quickened me. This is Psalms 119, verses 49 to 50. And this is the truth. When you are going through a hard time, God's word is your comfort, God's promise. And you're literally like a child who just has a promise that something's going to work out for you, and you just hold on to that for forever. No matter how long it takes, no matter how difficult it is, you're just like, God would not lie, because God doesn't lie. The proud have had me greatly in derision, yet have I not declined from thy law. I remembered thy judgments of old, O Lord, and have comforted myself. Horror have taken hold upon me because of the wicked that forsake thy law. Horror have taken hold upon me because of the wicked that forsake thy law. Thy statutes have been my songs in the house of my pilgrimage. I have remembered thy name, O Lord, in the night, and have kept thy law. This I had because I kept thy precepts. Thou art my portion, O Lord. I have said that I would keep thy words. I entreated thy favor with my whole heart. Be merciful upon me, unto me according to thy word. I thought on my ways, and turned my feet unto thy testimonies. I made haste and delayed not to keep thy commandments. The bands of the wicked have robbed me, but I have not forgotten thy law. At midnight I will rise to give thanks unto thee because of thy righteous judgments. I am a companion of all them that fear thee, and of them that keep thy precepts. The earth, O Lord, is full of thy mercy. Teach me thy statutes. Thou hast dealt well with thy servant, O Lord, according unto thy word. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I have believed thy commandments. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now have I kept thy word. Thou art good and doest good. Teach me thy statutes. The proud have forged a lie against me, but I will keep thy precepts with my whole heart. Their heart is as fat as grease, but I delight in thy law. It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes. The law of thy mouth is better unto me than thousands of silver and gold. So one of the things, so I talked about recently that the last couple of weeks, the craziness going on this platform was this drama. Listen, in the beginning, I'm like, this would make a good movie. No, this is a movie. The last couple of weeks, that could be a whole movie by itself. So I'm gonna share a lot of that because it's just too interesting to keep to myself. It's too interesting. But one of the reasons I knew There's many reasons, but one of the reasons I knew that I wasn't talking to God in this time was the lady, we use lady loosely, that was kind of doing the whole drama, the whole thing. She said, you're really stupid that you don't want money, and God doesn't speak like no, 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 no. Because this is something that I have said for a long time. And when you really love God, it's very, you're not just saying it. People don't just say things like this. When I say that I would take God over money, I mean that. And when I say that I would be completely broke and couldn't deal with turning against God, I mean that. I'm not just, I mean, my life is reflecting that. I mean that. So for me, it's very important. Like when this verse says, the law of thy mouth is better unto me than thousands of gold and silver. That's the kind of love you have to have for God. I mean, that's the kind of love you naturally have for God as a result of God being God, as a result of the experience that you have with God. It is important, it's impossible, sorry, to experience God's love and not say, I would take this over anything. And not just that, but it's not just experiencing God's love, it's also, I think, even when you are in love with another human being, you're like that. Just with another human being, you're like, you would sacrifice what others would not. You would sacrifice money, you would sacrifice relationships, you would sacrifice anything, really. You would sacrifice anything to have that. That's what love does. So when we have love for God, it's real. And I'm not saying we are religious, we're spiritual. This is not about outside, this is not about exterior. I'm saying when we have love in our heart for God, true love, you will take God first, God always, God forever. You would never, this is what love feels like. There were so many reasons I knew that this wasn't real in the last couple of weeks. I remember, when I have time, I make my parents the most elaborate meals. I decorate it, like I plate it very nicely and all that. But the days I'm tired, it'll be like whatever I can wrestle together. And sometimes it's just like whatever I'm eating, I'll just give them a little bite of it. Like, so say I was just gonna make myself like a sandwich for lunch, I'll like make more and just put some on the altar just to say, hey, like I'm having some of this. I don't like eating in front of them. There are some times where it's like I know I'm gonna make a big dinner, so I'll have like I'll have something quick to eat in the day. But like times I just say like it's just I don't know, it's just how I am. So I'll make a little bit more, but they will never complain about they don't complain about stuff like that. They don't actually. One does complain. One does complain. I can, but I understand. I know why I know why he's like that. Um, but not really overt, not really in a certain way. Like, they're not. They're anyway. Um, but I know that when I have hard days I work long, days I'm tired and whatever, it's like those are days that I can't do as much. And that was one of the things where I knew this was not my mother's energy to say something like that. Like I just knew, like it's like so many things. But anyway, when you have love and the relationship that we have is a loving relationship, it's kind of like saying, like, think about having a spouse. And let's think about two ways of looking at it. If you have a spouse where if you give them something, they want it to be of a certain standard or they make you feel bad. And then somebody else might have a spouse where they're just like, no, 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 don't even cook. I know you're tired. Don't even worry about it. Go to sleep, relax. You know, one situation there is love, so they think about you and they consider you all the time. And then the other situation is somebody who's selfish, who thinks about themselves. The last couple weeks has been like a lot. It's been like a huge eye opener, I swear, in so many different ways. Now I've been pissed off about it, but you know, I've been slowly getting a little bit more clarity with the situation and just kind of feeling better about it, which thank God, because I did not want to be in that energy. But you know, when you have a relationship with spirit and you have to be a certain way, and I used to wonder sometimes when people were talking about their altar and they had all of these rules, and it's like, I know that they've been spiritual, formally spiritual, longer than I have. And sometimes I second guess myself, like, wait, did I say something wrong about the altar? Did I say something wrong about the cleanser? Did I say something wrong about this or that? And then I realized to myself, like, it's like, maybe they have to do that because that spirit doesn't care about them. That spirit's just, maybe the spirit's just out for what it wants. Because when you're in a loving relationship, it's like spirit feels your exhaustion, spirit feels what you're going through, and whatever it is that spirit wants the best for you, and whatever it is that you have to do, they want you to do it. So say for example, I don't know, it could be something like, I just really want to win a poetry contest, let's say. Spirit wants you to win the poetry contest. Suggest books, they'll point you in the right direction, you know, everything outside of writing the poem for you. But, you know, they'll try to do everything to try to help you get there because they live in your heart. So when you're happy, they're happy. And when they're happy, you're happy. And sometimes it's indistinguishable, where I don't know which one of us is really happy because I'm like, wait, I don't have a reason to be happy right now. But it's like I get very happy when they're happy and when they're in a good mood, because I always feel that, and I say this, I'm like, I would like some of your happiness if I can't have my own right now, because it would be good to feel happy about something. And I think with spirit, it's also like that as well, where they want, I remember when I was preparing to wake up, is what I call it, where they would say, all you have to do in this lifetime, all you have to do is to be happy. That's your only job here, is to be happy. And I remember thinking to myself, that's a little too easy. There must be more work to it. But I realized that when you're happy and you're in a good mood, it makes them in a good mood. So there'd be a lot of times I'd say, you know what, after everything spirit's going through, I shouldn't be in a bad mood. Like, they don't deserve to hear me grumbling and bickering and whatever, but it's hard, honestly. Some of the things that happen here, like, people on the outside do not understand like what is going on here. This is crazy stuff. But um for me, I just kind of stepped back and I was like, is that what it's like with other spirits, where you have to like be at their service like that, where it's like you have to cook like this and you have to buy this and you have to do this, and it's just like, and like the kids can't touch the altar and this and that. It's not like that. Like, for me, this is a loving situation. Like, it's just a situation of love all the time. It's family. So it's like, just whatever you would do in a family. Like, do you want the last piece, or like the last glass is yours, or this and that. It's just like, I don't know. I just felt like I came out of the Twilight Zone, and I was like, is this how other people have to live? This is horrible. This is not fun. It's not a good way to live. I'm not trying to bash anyone. I'm just saying spiritual relationships, they should come from a place of love. They should come from a place of just passion and wanting the best for each other. I feel like that's how it works, but that's a spirit guide. That's a spirit guide or a higher self or an ancestor. That's what those spirits are. That's those spiritual relationships feel like that. When you go and you find foreign spirits out of wherever, I think this is the wrong way to, I know this is the wrong way to go about spirituality. The right way to go, excuse me, about spirituality is investing time to find your ancestors, investing time to get to know them, to cultivate those relationships. And then from the relationship of your ancestors, then they connect you to your spirit guides, and your spirit guides come along because you don't know who your spirit guides are. So your spirit guides might look very scary. They might have a reputation that's intimidating. Any kind of situation can happen with spirit guides. Like, you don't know who you're supposed to align with, and you also don't know what the mission is, and you might shy away from it because you might think to yourself, I don't, it takes a lot of commitment to walk a path. If you have a life path that requires spirit guides to get through, it means it's a very it's tricky terrain, and it means that there's a lot of probably spiritual activity on that. It's probably going to be difficult. So in order for you to go through that path on your spiritual journey, you need love. You need to trust your spirit guides that they will have the best in heart for you. And you need to trust that whatever comes, they're not putting you in a bad situation, but they're actually helping you through things. So because of this, you have to, I see the benefit of going through ancestors on that token alone. So you go through your ancestors, you meet your spirit guides. They're also what I now refer to, because I've heard other people describe it that way, is your spiritual friends. And I don't refer to them as friends. I call it, I see them as extended family. So there's your spirit family that is like your core family, so like mother, father, grandparents, things like that would live in a house. And then there's extended family like aunts and cousins and uncles and whatever, and that's how I consider the other ones, not even as friends, but like extended family, because they have just as much loyalty, compassion, devotion, and they're really, 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 really loyal. We are all extremely loyal to each other. And it's like when you wake up and you get back in contact with them, you're like, oh my God, you just feel, I don't know for anybody else, but when you wake up spiritually, when I woke up spiritually, I just kind of felt like home. I feel sometimes even more of a spirit than a person, if that makes any sense. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, where you just feel more like you just have way more family there, you have way more people, you have way more just things going on. Give me a second. Yeah, so I don't know, the feeling of waking up for me has just been, I haven't heard anybody else describe it in the way that I'm describing it. I think a lot of people definitely cling to a physical reality, and they have their family and stuff like that they resonate with. And just for me, I just feel like my family is just our spirits. They do not feel like ancestors. It feels like my actual family. So it's like I'm living in two worlds, where it's like there's my, I don't even call it my spirit world, but there's, let's for argument's sake say there's my spirit world, and then there is my human world. And yeah, it's like the spirit world is just as if it's more interesting, I would say. So for me, my spiritual relationships are very much centered on love and loyalty and deep respect. and mutual understanding. And so it's not like sometimes like the way the Bible talks about it. I definitely have a lot of that in me, of like that respect and whatnot, but sometimes it's kind of like when you feel spirit's emotions, it's like I tend to be the one sometimes. I'm like, okay, don't worry guys, like we'll figure it out. um you know, it's just a two-way relationship, and I just think that I know that's very fulfilling when you have a two-way relationship with spirit, and spirit respects you as much as you respect spirit, because there's this, it's not like a hierarchy. Like there's definitely um the respect a child would give a parent, but it's not like they're not disrespectful, they're not rude, they're not abrasive, they're not aggressive. So it's like, you know, anyway, there are parts of this verse, of this chapter. This chapter was way too long. I couldn't read the entire thing. It's 176 verses in here, so I couldn't read the entire thing. But one of them, I'm going to just reread my favorite parts of it. Verse 49 says, "Remember the word unto thy servant, upon which thou hast caused me to hope." Remember the word unto your servant, upon which you've caused me to have hope in this word. This is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word have quickened me. God gives you a promise and you cling on to that through hell and high water, because you know that if God said it, it's going to be true. And when you have like, you need a relationship that is strong. You cannot have a weak relationship with God and walk with God, because they don't take direct routes to things. Like it's not like, it's like, because they put lessons on the way, they put all these things on the way that are enriching situations, and they have a way of making impossible things possible, and they have no concerns about how things get done whatsoever. I mean, these last few weeks, it was like, it's really obvious that it wasn't God, but it was like, anyway, I went with it. They do not have a worry in the world, and it really makes you very confident in everything. So when you're panicking, God's like, stop. It could be crazy. It could be like bombs are going off and they're like, could you relax? It's okay. It's like, you'll be fine. You're like, what? It's like, they have a confidence because they know exactly how it's going to end. They're not pushy. Like, just the whole thing was off. The whole thing was, it wasn't just off, it was like obvious. It was like a total personality switch, everything. But I gotta tell some of those stories, because those stories are gold. My other verse that I loved was, "And I will walk at liberty, for I seek thy precepts. And I will speak of thy testimonies also before kings, and I will not be ashamed." And that is literally the point I've always been at from the time I woke up. I'm like, people are going to think I'm crazy. They're going to say things about me. They're going to make up rumors because they don't want God's word to go through. And so they already started saying Luciferian and whatever, you know, whatever. The way that I've always thought about it is very simply, I don't care. But that's also too like my general personality. So like if somebody were to say like, oh well, you're a devil worshiper, I'd be like, okay, so what after that? So I don't care, but I also know that it's not true. It's the furthest thing from the truth, the furthest thing from the truth. But I also know that when there are people who don't know God, literally just don't know God's love, those kinds of people, it is easy to conflate the two if it's just on spiritual appearance, but that's not true. That you cannot conflate the two. Like there's a stark difference between the two. With my whole heart have I sought thee, O let me not wander from thy commandments. I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. I will delight myself in thy statutes. I will not forget thy word. These are promises. And the relationship with your spirit guides are just as intimate as like a relationship with a lover. So it's one of those things I've tried to explain, and in the beginning it kind of has stumped me for a long time how to explain that when you love God, it's a love that feels like the kind of intimacy that you have with God feels like what you would have with like a spouse that you're married to, not even just like a boyfriend or a girlfriend, like somebody that you're married to, somebody that you've been married to for a long time. So there's deep, deep trust. Like I've never been in like a 30-40 year marriage, but that's what I imagine it feels like, where you just have this feeling like this person is not going anywhere. They can't, where the hell are they gonna go? Like, you guys stay here. Like, it's like that kind of feeling. So there's complete and total trust. And that is what they took advantage of in this situation, might I add. But that's how it feels. So it's like when you pray and when you talk to God, and when the Bible is written this way, so when it says, I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways, I will delight myself in thy statutes, I will not forget thy word. That is a promise that you're making to spirit, that you're saying. And it's like, you know what? For people who've really been in love, like real love, like true love, it's like these are the kind of assurances that you would give a partner. Like, you would give a partner respect without them asking. You would say, I respect you, I love you, I want you to be happy, I want you to be safe. And you would say it and you would mean it. And then there would be actions behind it that support that. It would never, because you want that person to be happy, because again, that person's spirit now lives in your spirit. And so you feel them. And so if they're unhappy, then you're going to be unhappy. If they're sad, you're going to be sad. That's what love feels like. It's empathy. Love is empathetic. Love feels the suffering of other people. And so if you are in love with that one person and that person's happy, you're beaming. And that's why when people love each other, they're so generous with each other and they give each other so much. And to outsiders, they're like, oh, this person's using that person, this person's spending that person's money, this person's this and that. But no, that person is actually probably the one pushing everything on that person, because they want that person to be happy, because as that person's happy, it makes their soul happy, it makes them beam, it makes them, hold on, Saf, can you, yeah. So as I was saying, just give it to me, thank you. Oh, these poverty-stricken people project into my house all the time. You have to be on in dire straits financially to still be doing this job. We're going on year 3. Anyway, um, when you are in a loving relationship, whether with spirit or with other human beings, it could be children, it could be whatever, you always give assurances that nobody asks for. You always are very loving, you always give promises. It's like the whole relationship is just love notes all the time. um it's very compassionate, it's very loving. And that's how I know that you can always tell people that don't know God, because they don't know love, they don't know softness, they don't know kindness, they don't know peace. And it's a draining thing to be around them. And I'm not saying that to be belittle or anything, but I'm saying this is what I experienced in the last couple of weeks, is what it's like over there. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, I can see why God stood back and let it happen, because I needed that in order to heal and in order to forgive. Forgive doesn't mean that it's not going to be punishable. It just means that in order to understand the situation better, it was this situation like that, whatever happened, there was a lot of benefits to it, a lot more than I care to admit, but there was a lot. But one of the things that I have to admit, no matter what, is that no matter what, I will, whether it was supposed to be staged or fake, not all of it was fake. A lot of that stuff was real. Um, Maybe it wasn't intended to be real, but it definitely played out like that. So, you know, I got to gain a lot of like understanding about situations that, I mean, if everybody could see things from what you might call an enemy's point of view, then it would help you. It really would. It would, even if it doesn't make it okay, it would just add some context to everything that you're feeling, and it would be a little more, I think that's how God sees it, to be honest with you. God sees the other side as well. And, you know, there's something to be said for, you know, what happened. So I want to talk about spirit guides today because that is very, wait, where's my note? Where are my notes? Here we are. Spirit guides are essential. This is how you're supposed to travel the spirit world. So, why are some people safe and some not? I'm talking about in like spiritual battles and warfare and all that. Why are some people safe and some not? It's not just favor. It's literally because they are in alignment with the universe. And if you're in alignment with universe, then you're in alignment with God. And I'm not talking about any like one denominational God or a religious God. I mean just God. We like to assign a lot of this other stuff, like this religion and good and bad and up and down and whatever. Just God. Just creation energy. Just the creator of all things. God. You being in alignment with your spirit guides, those that have come here to get you through, is being in alignment with God, because this was set out for you and you don't know what's on your path. And that's the fun of it. You could know what's on your path. It's going to cause worry. It's going to cause anxiety. It's going to cause all of this extra stuff. It's like, just go with it. And the God connection is not just one God or the highest God. You have these angels, spirit guides, some of them from the underworld, not necessarily from up here. Their mission is to get you through the hurdles that it's to keep you on track. And it's almost like they're given a schedule, and it's like at Saturday at 3, you got to be there. Sunday at 4, you got to be there. It's like your, I'm not going to say PR person, but whatever you would call it in Hollywood, that person that has to make sure that you make all of your commitments, they get you there no matter what they have to do, however they have to get it done. That's why blessings come through enemies, blessing comes through, like, they strategize how to get something done. That is what they do. And they get you there, and you'll be shocked how they constantly do it. So as I was saying before, you start with your ancestors, you start with your dead, because usually what happens is, well, it's not just my case. I've seen this, it's almost like all the time, where you spend a bit of your life, your living life, with the ancestor that is meant to connect you, because you need to build love, compassion, and a bond that's strong enough while you're here. So you don't cut that emotional cord with that dead ancestor. They live in your heart, whether they're quiet, whether they're dormant, whether you talk to them. And sometimes it's not so much that they're quiet, but it's that you're not talking to them. And with spirit, the relationship gets stronger the more you guys, you know, maybe spirit doesn't talk back to you, but the more you guys have communication, that bond gets stronger, to the point that some people will see spirits all the time, hear spirits all the time, feel spirits, all of that all the time, because of how frequently they keep that connection going. Um, so I talk about the two highest energies being the father energy and the mother energy. The mother energy of creation, we call her the divine mother, and from which, you know, people who are deeply connected to her in the sense where she is with them on their life journey because they come here just to work with her or for her, we call these people divine feminines. And it's the same of the father or masculine energy. Whatever, now you don't have to be working with those energies. And I think people like, I literally do not like when people make it seem like somebody is better than somebody else because their spirit guide is this and that. I think that's taking the wrong approach. I think that the stronger your spirit guides or the higher ranking they are, the harder your life is going to be, because they're not just, it's like they can't just choose just anyone for anything. So sometimes it might not be because of a person that they're so skilled at this and that. It might just be because they're obedient. It might just be because they're going to be obedient enough to walk that path that is going to be so tough for somebody else. They might just be able to endure something a lot better than most people. They might just have more of a capacity to love and carry that energy. Like, there's all kinds of reasons that don't necessarily have to do with skill or having gifts or any of the above. It's just who is best suited for the job. That's just how I see it. Who is best suited for something. Sometimes it has nothing to do with like skill level or this, that, and like it really is not like that. And I definitely see that there are times where spiritually it's like different practitioners compare themselves to others, where it's like, well, I can do this and I can do that. Listen, like, it sounds amazing. And in the beginning I used to kind of like want to have like more technical skills and technical knowledge and stuff like that, because it's like these people know so much, like what the hell. They have all this terminology and whatever. All of my lessons have come from experience, good or bad. Some days it's great, some days it's like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I had to go through this. But whatever the case is, and sometimes I know things that I don't have like the vocabulary for, but you know, it's I don't think it's one versus the other, to be honest with you. It's, some of us do not have the life that other people have, you know. It's very different. um these energies that travel with you, they are people that help you on your path in life, your destined purpose. And these sometimes can be additional spirits to God. So you can have these spirits that you work with, like your ancestors and whatnot, and then you have like what you would call like the highest gods as well. You need to know. So I'm gonna just kind of give a ton of facts in regards to these relationships. So you need to know that people can mask or clone as other energies in the astral, and you gotta be careful. People can, when I say energies, I mean everything, all encompassing. People can clone and look like me in the astral. They look like, people show up to me and they look like my family members. And there's a number of ways to recognize when a person is not who they are showing up as. But sometimes, you know, some people are just cloaking, and sometimes they're stuck. Like, they cannot get out of that, I don't want to say character, but out of that cloak. Like, they're stuck there. You got to be careful. You got to be with spirit, because spirit will block and stop a lot of things that come to harm you. Spirit life, or the life in spirit, is as scary as your knowledge of spirit life is complete. So obviously the more knowledge you have, the more confidence you're going to feel, but that confidence will betray you. It is very scary. It's scary no matter what. I don't care how seasoned you are as a practitioner, how much you've done. It's just not safe to be out there alone. It's kind of like saying, you know what, you're in dangerous terrain and you've been in dangerous terrain for like 60 days. You don't know what's going to happen on the 61st day. It's just, these energies that are out there are just too clever. and they're clever because of experience. They're clever because you are not the first one. You're not going to be the last one. You're like the millionth and one. Like, they have lived. Energy always has existed. So they've been around. They know how to get things done. It's hook, line, and sinker. Look at people who learn a particular way to manipulate people, and they've done it over the last 10 years. Look how good they are. Now think about an energy who's manipulated people over a long time. That energy knows how to get its way. And so it's just not a safe place to be. Anyway, people like to flaunt their spiritual knowledge, which is okay. Knowledge is power, but knowledge is not spirit guides. Your spirit guides sometimes are probably gonna supersede, they are, I think most times, they have to supersede the energies that are coming against you, because they have to make sure that you get through. So it wouldn't make sense for your spirit guides to be helping you go through spiritual situations where they are outranked by the energies that you're coming in contact with. It would only make sense that they are stronger, because you guys have to get through. They have to keep you motivated. You cannot fulfill your purpose without them. There's some people that say, well, not all guides are there to help you fulfill your purpose. And I just feel like, my opinion, so I'm not saying this is fact, but in my opinion, I just feel like you cannot fulfill your task without. If you are coming here with spirit guides and they're spirit guides because of a spiritual journey, it's because this is going to be treacherous. It's because this life has a lot of hurdles, and that's why they're there. And again, these energies have a lot of knowledge. They have a lot of power. They have a lot of ability to control situations. So you have to be in good standing with your spirit guides, and I mean at all times. You cannot be at odds with them. That's why, the Bible kind of outlines the verses in the way that they do, talking about all this, the respect and the love and everything else that we are to have for spirit, because these are loving relationships. Spirit guide relationships are loving relationships. These are not relationships of entities we find all around the place. You find entities all around the place and you serve them in that way. You have a spirit guide, it's like a family member. They understand everything is up and down. They know that everything is up and down. Some days you're able to do things, other days you're not. Some days it can get done, some days it can't. Like, they understand, and they're not weakened or insulted or whatever, because the days when things are good, it's like everything is perfect, it's amazing, and they know that it's not for lack of effort or anything like that. I want to talk about the 10 benefits of having your spirit guides. And my lives are not for people who feel that they're advanced in spirituality. Nobody needs to feel like intimidated by whatever I'm talking about, or I'm here to help people who are ascending and waking up. It's not about who has more spiritual knowledge or more complex knowledge or can do the most complex spell work or anything like that. Is not what this is about. This is about helping people who are ascending and who are nervous and don't understand the journey and don't understand what's going on. So the 10 benefits of having a spirit guide, first of all, obviously, is protection in the spirit. Listen, that place is booby trapped. That place is scary. And you have to know where you're going. I don't think it's safe to just wander the spirit world just willy-nilly. People have a tendency that they're just gonna like drift into people's spaces and do all kinds of stuff. I don't even think it's necessarily always safe to even go into people's spaces, because you don't know what's in there with them. You don't know like how that's going. So protection is the first thing. Number 2, they can take over for you, which is the best thing. So I talk about it kind of like your emergency lights in a building, where it goes on the backup generator. Sometimes you're tired, you're weak, you don't have the strength, and they have to help you holds you up because you are drained. Either your energy is being drained, your spirit's being drained, you're not getting enough sleep, you're running on steam. When you're in a spiritual battle, all kinds of things, sorry, happen. And so spirit has to take over for you. Spirit has to, I don't mean completely like walk in your body and walk for you, but push you, motivate you, encourage you, comfort you, whatever the case is. So sometimes it's like they can see that you got to get through and you're trying your best. And I've been there myself, where spirit had to really like push me through. They're there to give instructions. You do not know the way, they know the way. So they're there to say, no, we're not going to do it this way, we're not going to do it that way, like this doesn't make sense, whatever the case is. So spirit is there to give instructions and to guide and push you in the direction that you're supposed to go. 4, they fight on your behalf so that you don't have to fight yourself. Now, what a lot of practitioners and people do in the left-hand path, they have to fight for themselves. They have to protect themselves because they don't have guides doing it on their behalf. Now, the way guides do things is they keep you away from karma. They take care of things, but they won't do it too soon. They won't do it too fast. It won't be impulsive. It will be patient and it will make sense. So you get to keep yourself out of spiritual jail. The same way people get to be patient and keep themselves out of physical jail, that's what your spirit guides do. They're like, no, you can't just go break that person's door down and like fight them. Just wait. Don't do anything, So they fight on your behalf. They work through you if they have work to do now. So say you're serving a higher spirit, and it's not necessarily a spirit guide that's here just to guide you. Like they also will guide you on the things you have to do, but maybe the things you have to do is for them, it's for their use. But say for example, you're serving a guide and you're literally there to serve them for whatever work they have to do. They do their work through you. They can speak through you. They can touch people through you. They can, I don't know, build a charity through you. Whatever it is, whatever their work is, it happens through you. So obviously you do not, there's the vested interest to make sure that you succeed. They save your life, period. There's no other way to say that or explain that. They save your life. Because trust me, on some of these missions, it's like with me. There's something about me giving these messages, people, they just don't want that to happen. So it's like other energies want to stand in the way of your energy's work. Excuse me. And because of that, they're going to go out of their way. And if they have to take you off of planet Earth, they will. They teach you, they educate you, they coach you, they expand your knowledge, they talk you through things, whatever the case is. That's number 8. Number 9, they are always present and they're always steering the situation the way it's supposed to go. So they keep you on time. They push you forward, whatever have you. And number 10, they move your course. They literally can change the entire landscape around you for you to be on course. So if you have to be in Hawaii by Monday morning, they will trigger something to get you in from wherever you're sitting right now to Hawaii Monday morning. They have the ability to do things like that. So why anybody would not have spirit guides is beyond me, or not connect. I think we all have spirit guides, and if we don't all have spirit guides, we definitely all have ancestors. Now, I can tell you, sometimes I've met people's ancestors like in person, and it's exactly how you think it is. It's their family is there with them. When I say your ancestors are with you every day, they're in the car, they're in the house with you, getting ready in the morning, they're in the car with you, they get to work with you, they're watching everything happen around you at work. They're coming back home, they're telling you, hey, you forgot bread, hey, you should stop at the store, go get some this, hey, you should do that. They are there all the time, round the clock. And I think they just enjoy, a lot of times they just enjoy it. It's hopefully it's peaceful for them. Hopefully you're not, you know, they're not stressed out all the time. um and especially if you guys have like a warm relationship, if you guys laugh a lot with each other, if you guys have peace with each other, if you guys share things, whatever, you know. So I have been around people's ancestors as well, and they are defensive. Ancestors are defensive people. They embrace some people, and some people they could care less for, and you can know how they feel about you right away. Some people they embrace, and they're like, they like that person, and even if like their family member doesn't like the person, I don't know how they arrange that. And then there's people where it's like they just do not like those people, and they will trip you up. They will make sure that it doesn't work. Like, you think people's physical families are bad when they don't like you. When an ancestor does not approve, it will not work. I'm telling you, they will stop at nothing to get you out of there. It just will not work. So I've seen it. They are very loving and compassionate with their family members. They like everything. It's like they see no wrong with what their family members are doing, especially when their family members are loving, because they know your heart and they know your intentions. So as your it's like they see you doing something, they see you trying your best. It doesn't matter if it's perfect, doesn't matter if it's a mess, and it doesn't matter if what people are saying is true. They get offended by that. Like, what do you mean? We're working hard, we're doing our best, and you have the odd. And they're not saying she is, they're saying we, because they're helping in that work, their hands in that work. They hover over everything that you do. So they're pushing, they're prodding, they're suggesting, they're guiding. That's why they're guides. They got to get you somewhere. They make sure you don't sabotage your opportunities, you don't miss your boat. They That's what they're there for. They're guides. So for you to be with your guide, for you to go around people, it makes you more sensitive with how you treat people. Like, you don't just come around and just hurt people and do things like that, because you don't want to offend their guides either. Because you see, in the physical, we offend each other. Maybe we as people, we can let it go. The guides still have an issue. They're still offended, they're still pissed off, and they still want something in return for this. Like, we heard the sorry, but we want something for it. They don't move on. So people's guides don't move on years after the issue. Like, they're waiting, they're still waiting for their chance. This is, you don't insult people just willy-nilly, because you never know. Now, I've had my times in where I have met people and I didn't necessarily meet their guides, but I know they had guides, and I know that it was guides that sent them to me. I just know. I know that they were sent there for a reason. Sometimes I describe it, I used to think of it kind of like, say there's angels in heaven, and you pray, and they get that call, and it's like, I don't know, I need a bike. And you're like, sure. And then they go trade. They're like, they put out a call, and they're like, does anybody have, you know, a shirt? You change it from bike to shirt. Does anybody have a shirt? And somebody's like, well, I have one over here. They're like, hey, I'm gonna trade a favor with you. We'll owe you a favor, but we need that shirt. And they're like, yeah, okay, sure, come get it. And then they get their person, I call it their kid, they get their kid to come to your space to come get the shirt. And you don't get anything back for it immediately, but you're owed a favor. So there might be a day where you're in trouble, and now you get a favor back. You get a Hail Mary, you get a get out of jail card. But you were of service that one time where you gave something away. It might have been a kindness, it might have been a favor. And then sometimes we look at everything as tit for tat, and you want things immediately. Well, if I give you $5, then I want something worth $5 back. But that's not how it works. It literally is better to have favors, because favors are like get out of jail free cards, where it's like you've done for people. And say, for example, so I had a time where they were trying to get me stranded with my moving truck. Without a moving truck, all my stuff was in the hallway without a truck. And that's a time where spirit's gonna come through, and it's a way is gonna be made, and that's your get out of jail card. Now, say you did something for someone and it was valued at this, and you got it back at that time, what happens when you're in a lurch in a situation like that? You fall through the cracks. So when you're working with spirit guides, they're interceding on your behalf in ways that you don't know. And they use me all the time to do things like that, to just be there for people, to save people. And it's like, nah, it's no, you don't have to pay me, you don't have to whatever. People see it as very stupid, but people don't live on God's grace. These are people who don't live on God's grace. They have to fend for themselves. These are left hand pathers. Left hand pathers do not experience peace. I could tell you that. They don't experience peace. They don't, it's like they gotta be a spirit guide and a human being, and they have to be everything for themselves. And then people who have spirit guides and who have God don't know what the hell is going on, and they're like, well, anyways, good night. And other people are like, what is this person doing? Like, does this person not see the trouble? And then so from the outside it kind of looks like you who has spirit guides, people kind of look at you like you're clueless, or like you don't know what's going on, or like you're a dumb blonde. But it's like, no, it's just not your job. You just know that that is outside of the things that you have to think about. So spirit just gives you kind of like on your plate the things that you got to take care of, and then everything else they take care of. You don't know. It's like why you don't have to do spell work. So you don't know how this is gonna get. And a part of you is like, listen, I'm not even picky about how they get it done, and you just know they're gonna make it through every single time. And it gets more and more shocking as my life develops personally, how they get things done. It's just like, it's crazy. So it's actually very interesting to see how that happens. And it's like, I've heard it described as not having freedom when you have, that's the ultimate freedom of having spirit guides, because when you have spirit guides, you have your ancestors, you have God, you have all of that. Really, you're a kid. You're a kid again. Who would not love to be a kid after they've been an adult for long enough, where you're like, I wish I didn't have to worry about bills. I could just go to sleep. I could sleep peacefully knowing things would be okay. Things get paid for. Things get taken care of. If I want something, I just ask for it. Like, that's freedom. It's an amazing, blissful feeling, because it's like, you don't have to strategize. I have not like sat there and tried to like figure my way out of anything until the last couple weeks, where I'm just like, oh, okay, well, let me help out with a plan. That's never been my situation. It's like, what? And when you're working with spirit guides versus just like the traditional Christian sort of idea of just being around God, when you're working with spirit guides, you guys already know there's a path. So you don't necessarily always have to ask for things. I don't ask for anything in my, when have I ever asked for anything? I can't remember. I don't. I just get things, and whatever I get, I need. I don't know what I'm gonna get. I just get something. I'm always happy I'm gonna get it. There'll be times I'll just get up and leave my house, and I'll go somewhere, and then I'll get something out of the trip, and I'm like, wait a minute, how did this happen? It's because they either knew you wanted it, they wanted to gift it to you. That's how it works. It's like, this is the life you want. This is how people want to live. You do not want to live as a left-hand pather. I see these people have to take their own self out of problems, and I'm like, you're doing work of spirit. Why are you carrying this burden? This is too much. And they know so much more. Like, when spirits decide they're doing things, okay, so when you have to do spell work on your own, you're gonna think in a linear way. So you're gonna say, I want this to happen. And so you're just gonna think point A to point B, or maybe point A to point B to point C. Spirits already have, and depends on who your guides are, they probably have connections. You guys have spirit family, a family that extends beyond what you personally know. They already have means of getting things done where they're changing the environment energetically. So a left-hand path person says, I want to have 100,000. They'll go and they'll make a deal with a spirit, let's say, or they'll do something. If it's on your path to have $100,000 and with your spirit guides, first of all, you don't need to ask for it. Secondly, it's like the way you get there is magical. It's enjoyable. They have the ability to, they don't, it's not a linear thing. They will change the environment where you keep getting 100,000 keeps getting attracted to you. It's not the opposite way. You don't have to work for it. And actually, my point here that I have written down is that you don't concern yourself with things. Your wins are guaranteed as long as you do what you're supposed to. And even when you don't do what you're supposed to, they just shift the environment around you. They don't have need to yell at you to like, they just shift the environment. Everything that you want wants you. Everyone that you want wants you. They change. It's like they'll make you like ice cream if you need to like ice cream. They'll make you allergic to ice cream if you need to be allergic. It's like they just change the environment. So this is not something humans can do. So say for example, you're not aligned with someone and you're not supposed to be around someone. Everything around that situation is just going to be like bad luck and negative. Even if you and that person have good rapport, you guys are very friendly, your energy might be peaceful, but you're not supposed to be there. They'll change it. And there's sometimes where the person's for a season, the energy's great, and then they're just gonna change it. Not in the way that left-hand path people throw chaos and put chaos between people. I'm saying that two people will look at each other and say, I really care about you, but it's time for us to go. And there won't be any animosity or like mudslinging or anything. It's just they just feel it in their heart. Like, I would love to be around here. I wouldn't mind, but something in me is telling me like it's time to leave. The environment feels different, whatever the case is. It's a gentle thing. So it's just natural the way that they do things. And like I said, you're guaranteed to win as long as you listen. As long as you're not being stubborn. As long as you're just not banging your head against the wall. I do not recommend letting random spirits ride you for obvious reasons. They are not operating from a unified agenda. They have their own independent agenda. They're not worried about what's on your path, what's going to get you in a spiritual, like that is not what they're about. If you know anything about spirits, they're very black and white. They're very to the point. So spirits are going to be like, okay, you said you wanted a piece of, I don't know, hold on. I don't know why these people think they're low. But anyway, when these random spirits do not have any unified agenda with you, they don't care. They are very selfish. It's like whatever they want, what they're getting out of it. They're not gonna be honest. There's no reason. They don't know you. It's like you're just like a number. You're like a random person. There's no love there. There's no camaraderie. It's like they're very strict. They will reject offerings. They will reject things. They will turn things down. They could turn around and punish. Like it's a different world out there. So you want to be working with your personal guides. That's what I advocate. The whole point is for you to come into alignment with your purpose. It's not just for you to decide what your purpose is and decide that you want this purpose and you're not equipped. You need literally like past life lessons and the appropriate gang, spirit team, family for certain things. In the absence of that, you gotta leave that alone. There are some people that decide that just wake up and they decide, I want to be president in this lifetime. Do you know what it takes emotionally to be president? You gotta have guides with you that tell you, the morning after, you made this huge mistake, like, please wake up and go speak to people and do this and do that. Like, you need help on this journey. This is not like, anyway, you can't just, you shouldn't be deciding your future for yourself. Like, it should be something that's already there. So there is the results of dealing with random spirits, to me, at some point always comes down to how people understand traditional possession. And I'm not just talking about spirits that you're just casually working with here and there. I'm talking about spirits that ride you, spirits that you align yourself with, and they're not your spirits. These spirits, it will result in what looks like possession. Some people get so friendly with spirits, you can see like they tattoo certain spirits on them, they have certain tattoos, they do certain things, and you need an exorcism to get those spirits off. Like, this is not a cleanse, this is not like, this is not how that works. It's an eternal thing. It's an eternal binding. Sometimes you might be working with a particular spirit in a particular way, and they are your spirit guide, but you're on the wrong course, and sometimes they need to get you back. Now, sometimes they, and I've seen this in a couple of situations, they let you kind of run wild for a bit, but then there comes a time where you got to come home, and they do that by pretty much putting a beating on you. And it's your own spirits, but they'll put you through. Listen, look at what some of us are going through, and we are doing what we're supposed to do. You can only imagine what is happening or what will happen for people who are on the wrong path, but they belong to that spirit, or spirit has to work through them. So it's not personal, it's just about getting you on your path. Now, your spirit guides are not your babysitters. Sometimes it's like you cannot have them kicking and like dragging you, kicking and screaming. Like, this is not how that relationship is supposed to work. Hold on. They are not your babysitters. These are guides. You're supposed to want to be going where you're supposed to want to go. You're supposed to be giving energy. You're supposed to want to cooperate. It's supposed to be a collaborative effort, cooperative. You're supposed to be an active partner pulling your weight in this situation. You're supposed to be dependable. You are supposed to be dependable. You're supposed to be meeting people halfway, or meeting your guides halfway. Your guides, yes, they're there to make a way for you, but you need to walk the path. Like, you need to walk through the way as well. You need to enter. Sometimes it's going to be narrow. Sometimes it's going to be like you can just barely get through. You can barely slip through. So it is not always perfect. It's not always how you envision. Sometimes it's going to be a rough path. And it takes time to get used to the way that you guys work. But and they know that. They know when you're just fresh to a situation how that works, but you age with the contract. You should just age with the spiritual contract. I don't know, just sit on the phone and watch the video. Stop projecting into my house. You're supposed to age with your spiritual contract. So you guys mature into that relationship, and then you guys get into a groove with each other. You know how each other work. Now, when you work with your guides, a lot of the times it's like working, like I said, it's a very intimate relationship. So there's a lot of times where your guides do not need to tell you things. You just kind of know and understand. There are times they do, for sure. But sometimes it's kind of like maybe two close friends go somewhere and they get in a situation and somebody starts arguing with one of them, and they just know like how to respond to that situation. It's like that, where it's like that times 100, where you and your guides don't necessarily need communication to know how to navigate situations, because you just kind of know. It's like a sixth sense. So you want your guides with you, and you want to be pulling your weight. You want to get to know them as much as they're I don't think guides need to get to know you. I think they always know you. They've been with you since you were born. But when you wake up, you need to get to know them. You need to catch up with that relationship. You need to accept your mission, because if you don't, it's gonna be a nightmare, because they're gonna drag you kicking and screaming, but that's not the way that you guys are supposed to work. You need a very unshakable commitment to whatever it is that you're doing. You're going to see things, and you're going to have to be trusting. It can't be just spirit reaching out to you. It has to be a two-way street. It can't just be spirit constantly saying like, okay, come, let's do this. It has to be both. It has to be both. I wanted to talk a little bit about when people have random spirits. People do not always know when they are being possessed. That is a huge thing. Eventually they know that they're possessed, but they don't always know when they're possessed. Sometimes people see that they're possessed and they focus more on hiding it than cleaning it off. And I don't mean cleaning like a cleanse in the traditional way, but seeking help, seeking guidance. Sometimes people just have to live with it because there's nothing that they can do. Entities are very tricky. They have the ability to be quiet and dormant as long as they need to be. That can be years. Like you can have ancestors and guides with you that are quiet the entire time. They never say anything, they never do anything, they never startle you, they never say anything, but they're there the entire time. Spirits are usually always going to show up as friendly and supportive unless somebody sent a spirit to attack you. If they're coming to you with their own personal agenda, they're going to come very friendly. They're going to be friendly with you. They're going to be have some camaraderie with you, whatever the case is. Again, they're very clever and intelligent, and I list these as two different things, but they're clever and intelligent. And sometimes their intelligence is infinite. It's like infinite wisdom. They have the ability to body hop around you if they need to. So just because a spirit rides you does not mean the spirit cannot leave. The spirit can be both inside of you and outside of you at the same time. So they can body hop, and I don't mean that they body hop and they jump inside of other people, but they will influence other people's behaviors as well. And that can be anyone, any soul tie. I don't know for people outside of soul ties. I'm pretty sure they can influence people who are not your soul ties, but definitely for soul ties like family members and stuff, I know that they have huge influence with your soul ties. They fend off attacks and threats to them. So it doesn't matter if it's a spirit that has its own agenda or not. If you try to get a spirit off of someone that they have liked being there, they are not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. They're gonna fight. They're gonna fight these spirits, whoever it is that threatens that relationship. They're gonna fight. They're gonna be aggressive. When spirits are riding you, you cannot just get rid of them, because like people in this situation here with gang stalking, they tend to think that when spirit is with you, they can just make you sin, do something bad, then it's gonna block your connection, then you're gonna be by what? If it was that easy, then as soon as you pray, you can get a demonic possession off of you. You can go to church every single Sunday, pray, do everything you want. It doesn't work that way. If that worked, then people would get in and out of these relationships all the time. It does not work that way. It's not about what you do. It's not about what you say. It's not about that. This is a soul tie with a spirit. It's not going to leave. Come hell or high water, it is not going to leave you alone. It's going to stay. And it's going to be very aggressive about staying. And it's going to put hurdles in a person's way over and over for that person not to get rid of it. Your ancestors are supposed to approve and assist in your assignment and also connecting you with the guides that you need. So that should not be alone, because these guides, they stay for the lifetime. Anytime you attach to a spirit, in what day, in what way is it going to want to leave? It leaves the body when you leave the body. Like, it just, I don't know. For a spirit to, maybe God might want, but even then, I'm telling you, like, remember, once they're in you, they have influence and control. They can move your hand. So they can act through you. They do not, even if you start rebelling and not doing what you are supposed to do, spirits are not like us that just give up on relationships. Like, that's not happening. That is not happening. They're not just giving up on the relationship just because you start acting up and you don't want to do the things that you'll do, they'll just push you to do whatever has to be done. They'll coordinate situations around you. They will move people around. Like they'll do whatever it is that they have to do to get whatever it is that they want. Most possessions get worse with entities, with no, listen, and entities that are not your entities do not have to have any respect whatsoever. They do not have to have any respect, and it always ends in mental instability and death. And that just is what it is. This is how it ends. It first, when people have angered spirits, their life starts falling apart, number one, because the spirit makes it, they make sure of that. They make sure your life falls apart. They start ripping it to shreds. And then when your life falls apart, then you're the last thing to go. You start thinking of suicide, you start being suicidal, you start seeing the end coming. It's like the end is looming, and every day it gets worse and worse. This is how it works with these entities. So you have to be careful when you're choosing to carry certain energies. The whole point that they want is a soul connection. That is the only currency that makes sense to a spirit. Is another spirit, is a spiritual reward. What earthly reward do they, like maybe bringing other souls, like that's all it is. Talk about them, uplift them, but bring other souls. So you're thinking about any kind of spirit. Now they have different motivations. There's a lot of spirits that are here to help humanity, help people, and the only agenda they have as far as like connecting with people or connecting with their people is to carry out their work. But there are a lot of low vibing spirits. They want to feel like God. They have an issue with God, and so they make the people that who carry their energy also have an issue with God. And you know, it's like a snowball. These energies are not relational. There is no astral relationship. So you can expect zero. You're in a contract and you gotta get the contract fulfilled, and that is it, and that is all. These relationships devolve very fast. Sometimes within months or weeks, honestly, weeks of carrying an energy, you start seeing your life slide, go down, because again, there's no relation there. It's just like, and they're manipulative, to be honest with you. They're very it's a bad idea. People start seeing the signs in a person's life even if the person doesn't see the signs in their life, and their life goes to shit. And it's literally, it's like, it's worse than one of those spiritual marriages where somebody binds you and they have access to your energy and then they can kind of bother you through the binding. No, this is like a spiritual marriage. Like with a spirit, it's like they're inside. They can do essentially whatever they want. And I talked about the fact that it can't be cleaned. I feel like when it comes to things like that, you need what people would call like an exorcism. You need another spirit that has to fight it off for you, and the opposing spirit has to be a spirit that inhabits the opposite side. So say for example, you are in the light and then you have a spirit that's on the dark. These two spirits can kind of go at it for you. But if you have two energies that are in the dark, they're not going to fight each other. They're going to both exist in you. They're going to coexist there. They're not going to fight. So you need another energy that is the opposite of your energy, and that is what's able to fight on your behalf. Now, saying that, you have to choose a side and stick to that side, because they're going to be battling for your soul. You have to make a clear decision. You can't be kind of, so your actions, your intentions, your desires have to match with the spirit, the side of the spirit with that you're aligning with. So it must be supported by actions, faith, and beliefs. So you would basically be in the middle of a tug of war between two spirits. You cannot leave this thing. People should not be leaving these kind of infections on them. It's like literally, it's gonna take you back to wherever it resides when you're going. If you make a deal with an entity, you can't keep the deal. It takes the soul. That's it. And it takes you back to wherever it is and you stay there. That's it. End of story. You want to make sure that you're on the appropriate spiritual assignment. That is the assignment that is mandatory for your life path. I don't know if all spirit guide relationships can be mended. Depends on how far off your course you are, but I want to believe yes, but I don't know. People with ancestors don't have to be powerful themselves. I just think that you are going to be assigned whatever you need, the ancestors you need, you're going to get it. And then they're going to have the path, they're going to figure it out, and they're just basically going to give you like simple instructions, maybe day to day, month to month, however it goes. And I think you're assigned not just your ancestors, but your spirit guides according to your life mission. I talked about this before. We got to stop putting hierarchy on soul missions. There are pros and cons to everybody's path. Some people just have a path that they have, you know, like I'll talk about like myself. Whenever I come on this camera, I have this lunatic that tries to make me sleepy, tries to project into the house. It's like all this frenzy and this panicked activity just because I'm talking to people about how to have spirit guides. It's like, oh my God, this is the path, and this is my destiny, and this is something that I have to do. They ruin the channel, they do this, they do that. It's like monkey business, literally. And you can say, oh my God, like, you know, I want that destiny for myself, but could you even freaking imagine doing this without a spirit guide, doing this without spiritual help, and all of these entities like constantly attacking you and attracted to you and whatever? It's like, it's really exhausting nonsense. So you don't want to necessarily have other people's path, even though you think you do. You don't. You want to focus on yourself and what you can handle, because there's people here who have zero self-control and could not handle what they put other people through. They would melt down in front of a stadium of people. If you are wandering with no ancestors and no guidance and no intelligence and no, I call them check engine lights, you have to understand that you would have no conscience. You would have no gut. You would have nothing that tells you, okay, now it's time to stop. Now it's time to go. Like, I gotta change course. I gotta do that. Like, you wouldn't have any of that. So when things are off, you're supposed to feel it. And half the time that happens, it's literally because of spirit guides that are kind of nudging you or giving you kind of insight. Like, to be honest, I don't even know if a gut is necessarily like spirit guides. It could be outside of them, but you know, I don't know. And spirit will move you or push you before you get off of course, meaning that when things are not for you, they rip it away from you, they take it away, even if they have to see you cry. They do whatever it is that they have to do to get you where it is that you have to go. I want to talk about the spirit world as far as witches. First of all, witches do not have respect. Witches do not have respect. No fear. You have to be fairly brave to take a left-hand path in the first place. They are brutal with people, and they sometimes sit on people long past when a person is done or exhausted. So wait days, weeks, months, years. They are consistent with the punishment that they put people through. So I just want to say this. Once you get into the spiritual realm, you have to walk a middle path. You cannot be afraid of a fight. You cannot be afraid of defending yourself. You cannot be a do-gooder anymore. You got to walk in the middle. You're not looking for problems. You're not searching things down. You're not hunting down problems. But you cannot be such a do-gooder that you let people get away. Recently, I have just had to not let people get away with murder. I have had to start defending myself because it was going too far. It was putting up with too much abuse for years, and it was just going to continue. Witches, warlocks, earth angels, whatever you want to call yourself, whatever you align with, just know you have to get into a spiritual fight at some point, and you got to defend yourself. There are people with bad reputations in the spiritual community everywhere that owe spirits. So you have to be careful in this spiritual realm. You got to be safe. It is important. Spirit is here to guide you. Spirit is here to help you walk the path. So you got to make appropriate spiritual decisions. You got to make appropriate spiritual decisions. To bring it all together, when you are going through challenging situations, for example, gang stalking, and you need to get through because you're on this extremely difficult path, you must make a very good spiritual decision, and you're not getting out of it without attaching to your guides. I'm not talking about your guides being with you because they're already with you. They're already on the side outside of you. You need to attach to your spirit guides. You cannot, they got to be inside to protect you. They got to be inside to see what's wrong with you health-wise, to watch your, I don't know, your money, your cleanliness of your home, your this, your that, like whatever it is that they're concerned with for whatever reason. You have to be how do I put this? Got to be attached. That's really what it boils down to. I'm nervous to say things like you got to be possessed by spirit, you got to be held by spirit, whatever the case is, but you got to have some sort of spiritual attachment. And that's going to be to your spirit guides, to people that are supposed to be there for you. The reason you scrape out of situations is because you have spiritual alignment. Now, in saying all of that too, when you're being gang stalked, these people keep files on you. Like, I mean actual physical files. Like, maybe not paper, it might be digital, but they keep files. And they pass these files around to different people that are supposed to be handling you. They definitely passed notes on to the person pretending to be my spirit guide. This was a plan. But it's wrong. It was just wrong. And so that's the benefit of, Nigerians, they have this thing called over sabi. Sabi means knowing or understanding. And when somebody says you're over sabi, it's like you're fooling yourself. Like you know too, like it's like you feel like you know so much that you confuse yourself type of thing. So this is what people call over sabi. And this is what, when you're working with guides, it's opposites day for everybody. Everything they do backfires. Now, I wasn't going to go into this story, but I'm going to go into some of these stories. Everything they do backfires. Everything they plan backfires. It just doesn't work the way people expect it to work. But that is because you have guides with you. That is because you have help. So, for example, people doing all of that to you, they have to understand that you have spirit guides here with you. So they do everything that they're doing in your spirit guide's face. Your spirit guides seeing they're inside of you, they're tethered, they're seeing everything, they're hearing everything, they're responding to things. Like it's like people they are talking to your guides when they talk to you. They are deceiving your guides when they deceive you. They are insulting your guides when they insult you. There's no other way around it. So in this situation, people were talking to my guides. It just is what it is. Like, they were in God's face. They were playing in God's face when you do stuff like that. And I know that they do these things with other people, but you're playing in God's face when you do things like that. You're not, you did not get away with it. Like, nobody gets away with things like that. And like I talk about with ancestors, not the highest God or anything, like people who were just human beings who used to be alive that watch over their family members. You're not even getting away with it with them. They're there, they're seeing it, they hear every thought. How on earth? So this situation has been hilarious, and it's been a major backfire. So the intention of the situation was for me to make a public announcement to break someone's heart, to say, oh, I'm with this person who I was rumored to have had something with, to have justified the attacks on me that was very obvious. And so they came as the voice of the guide, and they're like, well, the only way you're going to get the situation to stop is you got to be in a relationship with him and just pretend. And I didn't want to do it. And they're like, just pretend. And so it backfired, because whatever situation they were trying to put an end to, that situation, that's not how it ended up working. It ended up being something opposite of what they were trying. So that didn't work. And then they just wanted to make it seem like, you know, there was just things going on and all this kind of stuff. I mean, just all in all, it just didn't make sense. No party was cooperating. You could tell that the person was brought in by the wife, in the sense the wife used to always kind of scry and kind of try to figure out what was going on. And you can tell that it was definitely the wife who did something, because the way that they talked about the husband was just like, you could just, I don't know, it's like the person, that voice, it's like, this person's from my country, so I know that person kind of doesn't like either one or both of them in real life, because there's doing your job, and you can tell when someone's doing their job, and there's like, no, they acknowledge that this person's possessed and they're not all there. They know that, because it wasn't going as planned. It wasn't like jiving in the way that it should. It was like, it was a lot of illusion and manipulation and like playing both sides type of energy. It was very weird. It was very weird, because it wasn't like a wife, it was like a handler. It really wasn't like there's love and compassion. It was just like, I want to make sure that I protect my assets. Like, it wasn't like personal. Like, you'd think it'd be personal, but it wasn't like that. It was also to like some level of disdain. It was like handling like a child. Like, it was just like, this was an annoyance and like a situation that has to be handled. Because the way that they were speaking about him was just like crazy. They meant it. There was stuff where it's like, okay, I'm just doing my job, and then there was stuff where I was just like, it was like belly laughing, you know, because it was like, why is this not working? And it wasn't working because of both sides. First of all, I have to force myself to even make contact, and then even when there is contact made to try to make the rumor work, it doesn't work because of the entity. The very next day there's more issues, and so they're begging me to do it, because they're like, you're the only one that can. It was just like ridiculous, and I was like, no one can do this. It was just a very weird situation. That situation was very telling though, because it's like you can kind of see things that kind of transpire in people's situations. It's like you kind of get the feeling that people are trapped with one another, or I don't know the internal situation. It's like, yeah, people might be working together as like a family, but there's definitely like family politics in there, and it's just like two handlers. And I used to think it was somebody else. I always got that handler vibe, but it was like the brother and the wife are the handler, and you can see it. So they'll say things like, don't watch the lives, and like, don't do this and don't do that and whatever. It was just like, and I'm not saying that it wasn't orchestrated to look a certain way, but I'm just saying there is just more than meets the eye in that situation. um the reaction was not logical. Like, if you're looking to bind to someone and you get the opportunity, you don't behave that way. You don't like run off, you don't like do things like that. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, you don't, it's like little kid courtship games versus like, I have a job to do, let me hurry up and do my job and get this out of the way and be done with it. So they put on a production, I'll tell you that much. But there are parts of it I definitely felt like were serious and were real, and it's impossible for people's vulnerabilities not to show. And as much as they did certain things, it's like you can kind of tell, like, you can kind of tell like what was being done and like where the energies were aligning to and whatever. And it was just a really weird situation. It did not play the way that they wanted it to play at all. And it's, half of it is I was improvising. um all of it was weird. Spirit has never asked for my help to fix anything or like pace the floor. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, it's just, all of it was very weird. I say all of this to say, I'm gonna echo the things I have said recently. The spirit world is very challenging and it's very scary. You mix that in with the human world, you have an issue on your hands. There really is spiritual possession there. What some people might laugh at is mental illness or is this and that, is a struggle. It's a struggle to hold on to a person's mind in a situation like that. A lot of manipulation, a lot of, I don't know, it's like, it's kind of like maybe somebody, you know what it feels like? It's like somebody's brother is like a little slow and they're in love with someone and they're like, the family's like, no, he's too slow to be with you because we think you're gonna take advantage of him. But then the family's taking advantage of him, and that's why, like, he pays all their bills and he does all of that, and they're like, no, 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 if you get with him, he's too slow, he won't see what you're doing, like, he'll take advantage. Like, that was the whole vibe of it. Very weird, not good to be in the middle of situations like that at all. Felt very forced. um Felt like, why am I here, and what, and they were really trying to push this narrative. It's like, it's not a jealousy thing from a, well, there is a bit of jealousy there as far as like, why you, but it wasn't really like, why you, I want to, this hurts so bad. It was like, I don't want you to have what I had type energy. Not not for the sake of love or any, like, if it really boiled down to love and stuff, like, who cares? But it's just, it's, if the love is gonna bring devotion, loyalty, money, or things like that to you, then I don't want you to have that. And it's like a commitment to continuing to do a job that clearly can't be done, and they don't care how it gets done. They don't care who gets sacrificed. They don't care if this person loses their mind completely. Like, they do not care. Like, it's crazy. That family does not care. um they didn't care to, they just didn't care. I don't know if it was also a way to get control of the situation. So like, it's like, maybe you don't want it to happen behind your back, so why not take control over it? Because it's, you can kind of tell this person checked out of whatever situation that is. Like, mentally, emotionally, they've checked out. They could care less. And I don't know, it was just like, it was very weird. um this is possible to happen, trust me. You got to be so careful in the spirit world. I've seen it happen to other people, and one person, I felt it. I felt what they must have felt, because to me, I think that one of the biggest violations is try to take on the voice of spirit. I cannot imagine a thing that is more disrespectful in spirit's face, to try to do something like that. People have done that before, and like I said, waking up is already delicate as it is. It's already something where so many people talk about when they were supposed to wake up and they were just scared. They were just nervous because they're like, they don't know what they're getting into. It takes so much trust. It takes a gentle spirit. Thank God Mother's a loving spirit and she's very gentle, because otherwise it's like, if she wasn't loving, if she wasn't kind, if she wasn't gentle, then what the heck would we be like? How more difficult would it be for people to wake up? It would be so scary. So it's just the fact that people have to wake up in these kinds of situations, and I don't know, to take on the voice of God and manipulate a person like that. It's like, it's very wrong. And I'm not saying that there's no possibility that he was in on it too, but I would find it hard for him to be, well, he was probably in on it too, but to be in on it and then still not do the job that you're supposed to do, and then still, there was secrecy between these people. Like, they were trying to hide, or maybe it was like, there was something, because the entity was against it. The family was against it. The entity was definitely against it. Every single day, the entity was like, no, 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 you can't leave. You can't talk to this person. They're using you. They're this, that, and the third. And it was just like, if this is orchestrated, these people should write books. These people should make movie productions. Like, you could tell the wife is a liar, but like the other one really is just going through some things, not just something, things, and has gone through things. And I don't know, it's a very weird situation. Um, Things are so weird over there that I don't even know. It's been part of my healing journey to experience it though, because now I can be like, you know what, it's a lot of crap going on over there. It's a lot of stuff going on over there. It's weird. It's weird. And I don't know, it's like horrible. Like, it's not even like there's no love, there's no like. And it's like belittling behavior, and just like, I don't know, like mother and son to some degree. It's a lot of manipulation. Um, anyway, anybody watching this, I'm just gonna say this. Please study your spirit. Study how they communicate, when they communicate, what they communicate about. Study everything, because you might have a day where people try to pull stuff like this off on you. It was like V2K, but like the manipulative soap opera drama version. And it was just a lot. Like, they really wanted to push that narrative. I've never seen a situation where a wife would be manipulating something like this to like make something look a certain way. And if the husband is supposed to be in on it, then they should have gotten it done a long time. But it's just like, it was not, it was forced. It was forced on every side. It was very forced. um Not every, well, I don't know every side, but it was forced. And it was like, whenever I would ask questions, they would belly laugh and they'd be like, he has something wrong with him. And I'm just like, that's not funny. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did laugh at it too. I did giggle about it, but on the other side, I was kind of like low-key disgusted. I'm like, I can do that. I'm like an arch nemesis, but like, your own family is not supposed to be like, I don't know. I don't know these people's situations, but I know when people are being authentic about things that they're saying, versus when they're just like, we're doing this because this is a mission. They were not just doing that because that was a mission. They could care less. It was like just dealing, it was like dealing with a problem, getting ahead of a problem. That's kind of how I saw it. Getting ahead of a problem. So I don't know, it was very weird. I understand the part about like trying to get control of me. I do not understand some of these other parts that happen. So I just wanted to explain that. I have been very insulted and pissed off about it for days, for longer than that. I've been holding myself together, started being sarcastic at a certain point. Now, I don't know if it read as sarcasm, but holding it together with a thread, and then just finally broke one day, and trying to hold my patience. And it's like, oh my God. Okay, is all I'm gonna say. but these things can happen. I know somebody else who it happened to, and I thought to myself at the time, she's probably crying right now after she found out that she had been tricked or manipulated into a situation. I thought to myself, she's probably crying right now at her altar. She's probably shaking. She's probably beside herself. And I said, I don't envy that. I don't envy disappointing yourself in that way, but I understand now that these things are on course. God doesn't let these things happen for no reason. There was healing that I ended up doing in that situation, whether they made it up or not. I got to see close hand and have a conversation and just see close, like firsthand, like the kind of conditions that they're working in, the way that they're working. They are not on the same page. They do not care about each other, to be honest. Like, I think they care more about that dog than they do about him, for sure. For sure. They for sure care more about that dog. There's just distance, and it's not loveless, it's like likeless. It's like no like. It's like people who one sleeps on the couch and one sleeps in the room type of thing, but the other one is always like checking in. Like, she taps into him all the time. Like, she taps into his mind all the time. Like, he has no privacy energetically. So it was so weird. It was a weird thing. It was a weird thing, but it did open my eyes. And so, you know, it is what it is. I think it helped me heal a lot, not be as triggered. Not to say that I'm happy about that manipulation, but just not be as triggered, to forgive a little bit, to have some compassion, and to have some understanding, and to kind of see that, you know, this was a mistake. Getting this energy, carrying that energy was a mistake. And I still think, regardless of what happens, that needs to go. Cannot live like that. That thing is on hell-bent to destroy this person's life. Like, I'm not saying this person's perfect. I'm not saying this person doesn't deserve to pay for everything they've done, etc. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you gotta experience these kind of things alongside a person to understand what the situation is like, because you cannot pretend to be like that. You are like, I don't know. Still aware of what's going on, still very calculated, still doing things, but not in their right mind, and knows it. Everybody over there knows it. They all know it. I mean, like, the people around know it. The gang stalkers, the people they work with, it cannot be hidden. It can't be hidden. And I was just like, they have someone who's possessed running the show. They're not running the show. There's someone in the background running the show. Otherwise, that situation would have fallen apart a long time ago. There's somebody else pulling strings, and this is the maniacal energy. This is the real maniacal energy. It's like she's letting him take the fall for this, 100%. Like, if I didn't mention her name, he 100% would be the only person that would be like, she's letting him take the fall, and it's been her the whole time. It's been her. That's probably her now, who knows. It's been her the whole time. She's very calculated. She's very, very calculated. To have put this together is some calculated, like, ish. And I'm not saying he's not calculated, but I know his handiwork by now. I know how he puts a plan together. I'm not saying he didn't used to put decent plans together, but this is manipulation that comes from a female mind. This did not come from a man's mind. And anybody who is a man or who is a woman knows what I'm talking about. Men do things and you can see there's a little bit of sloppiness in it. Whether it's sloppiness, just when women do things, you just know. It's like heavy, heavy, heavy emotional manipulation. And so if you have a job to do, say for example, you want to spiritually bind to someone, you want to get into their good graces, you come like a thief in the night. You use honey. You stay in contact. You be loving. You keep it going. You get deep in, and then you execute and you leave. This was just like, if you somehow get through today at 7 p.m., by 9 p.m., the entity was back. The entity's in here, like fishing for information. The entity's fighting me. It's like, I remember I asked the wife, I said, listen, like, this person's kind of like just not, they're behaving a certain way. And she like ran out, like she didn't respond to it. I'm like, that's not how a wife would like behave. Like, it was just like the whole thing was just like a psychop. Like, no, psychops make sense. This was chaotic. And I know that they were probably frustrated, like, why the hell doesn't he just complete the job? Because it's like, it's the 11th hour and it's like all games. It's very childish. It was all kiddish games. It was like he was running off giggling energetically, like running off just like shy and like nervous and like, I don't know. And this is not how I see this person or have viewed them. It's just very weird, and like the whole thing. The person doing the little voiceover pretending to be God, like her as well. She does not like them. I know she doesn't. She's from my country. I know what I'm talking about. If you are, I don't know, you're Spanish, you know how Spanish people are. I know how my people are. My people are, if anything, they can play every side. They can be in a situation with 8 people and they can play every side. They're experts at that. I don't know how to explain it. Like, they just, and it's, I don't even think they mean anything by it. It's just like how they are. But the way she was behaving, she was, she didn't care. She just didn't, I don't know. There's something going on with those people. Like, this doesn't make any sense. There's something going on. I don't know if she was trying to get them back for something, but some of it was unnecessary. Some of the commentary was like crazy. And it was like a lot of, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But I can just say, and they obviously couldn't understand. That's why she got pulled in, because they don't speak the language, they don't understand. And there's just specific things that were said. Specific things that were said. And the way we belly laughed about those things, I was like, no, she's being serious. This part's not acting. It's kind of like maybe there was an agenda to get me back, but like the way he was behaving was not acting. It was not acting. Like, he was really mad about certain things. He was really hurt by certain things. He really was. He was really upset about certain things. Like, this was not a joke. And he might have been pretending it was about one thing, but it was like very clearly his energy was like about something else. Like, he was, oh, it made no sense. It made sense, but it was just like, what kind of gong show is that? I don't know. Something's going on over there, and it just kind of seems like the brother and the sister are just like fighting to hold this thing together, and the other one doesn't really, like, he could go either way. He could go either way on it, let's be honest. He's not really committed all the way. Like, he's confused. He has a lot going on. He needs help. Something needs to be addressed. And the wife is unhinged as well. I'm not gonna lie. I have suspected that she probably is possessed by something as well. I'm not saying it's not about not being in your faculties. It's about the energy that you're in. It's like there's something in the energy, in her energy. There's something there. I don't know what it is. There's something in her energy as well. Like, it's just too strong of what it is. Her energy is dark, and it's very calculated. Like, she plays everybody. Like, she moves everybody on the board. The brother, the everybody. Like, she just moves everybody around. she's just, I don't know, and she's very sneaky. She's like a sneaky energy. She like meddles with things in the background. Like everything that I thought, like the way I described him, she's like worse. She's worse. She's she's a different beast, but I don't think anybody there in that situation likes each other 100% or trusts each other. The marriage thing is definitely not 100%. It's not 100%. It's like not a marriage at all. Like these people do not like each other. I'm not saying that because they said it. I'm saying that because like the way this thing went down, and the they paint a lot of illusions. Like they do stupid shit. Like they'll come and try to be like, don't talk to this person, or this person's gonna like end up getting injured or whatever. But it's like they were trying to stop the coming together of the situation initially. They were trying to be like, don't mention his name, don't talk about him, don't whatever. Then they tried to get him to like not watch any of the lives, not have any communication, to stay away, as if that's gonna work. Are you kidding me? This is an energy that you cannot abuse enough to stay away from you. Like you couldn't beat it big. You can't beat up on this energy to not do so. Like when they know that when he wants to do something, he's gonna do it. It doesn't matter. And then they just, I guess they were just like, F it. He's always tapped in over there anyway. He's like, I felt like people were watching me like TV in my house. It's like he's watching over there, and she's like, well, I might as well watch it. And then she has to send her brother, and it's just like to watch the situation. It's just like, it's a lot. And then they had to send the little manipulator girl, and then it was just like on and on and on and on and on, and it was just, oh my god, they put on a show. They really did. I was not impressed. I'm impressed now. I wasn't impressed with it. I was just like, you have got to be kidding me. And every time I'm about to say anything, the spirit's just like just grabbing me, like, just like, oh my god, I gotta go along with this. I gotta go through with this. But I don't know. Stay safe out there. Stay out of these jars and these death spells and whatever. Like, it's just, I feel like it's a snowballing thing. I feel like if spirit wants you to do something and spirit tells you, your spirit guides, not random spirits, then sure. But just stay out of it, because it creates these kind of situations, and whatever it is that this person's carrying is too scary to carry. It really is. And the energy that they're carrying is a childlike energy, and they're in a childlike energy as well. And so it's like he's being managed like a mental patient, in a sense. Like he's being managed. Like they have to keep an eye on him. They have to like monitor what he watches. They have to like, they feel like he's gonna be taken advantage of. Like it's just like, and that was not what I thought it was. Like I wasn't trying to take advantage of anyone. It's just like I was trying to be forthcoming with everybody. I was trying to like be open with everyone. I'm not being sneaky. I'm not a sneaky person who like goes behind people's back. It was very obvious. It's obvious to her too that I don't want this person. She knows that 1,000%. Like I'm not going after this person. They had to like beg and push and manipulate just to get conversations happening that just were not organically happening at all. So a very manipulative energy, let me tell you. I almost even feel sorry to be, I can't believe I'm saying this. I almost feel sorry for this person because of like just what I've seen. And it's just always like, he's not an idiot, but they are just treating him like he's an idiot, I guess. And maybe they felt like they were gonna lose him or lose the situation, or I don't know. They were just constantly creating chaos and fighting where the chaos and fighting should have been done a long time. It should have not been, it felt decent to have peace, but I think they knew that outside of the peace that there was something else going on. So anyway, I don't know what to say. All I can say is, like, listen, when you're on this roller coaster that continues to just like loop around, and just hold on, because you don't even know what's going on in your gang stalking journey. I don't know how this is gonna end. This is very crazy stuff. I don't even know. It was so crazy that I keep picking up on different scenarios, and I'm like, no way. But yes, this is what gang stalkers do. They create illusions, but there are some things that were not illusions. Like, there were some things that were very strong energies there. And you know, it's so crazy because the tarot reading had talked about it, but I didn't, like, and there were things where the person doing the voice would like slip up every once in a while and say something and then catch herself, or like want to allude to something but then wouldn't, type of energy, like didn't want to be the one to say the thing. It was just so weird. It was so weird. Oh my god. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. It didn't work the way that I guess it was supposed to work. I had people like holding hands that couldn't stand each other, and all kinds of things that happened. I'm not a sneaky person. I'm not good at like doing that kind of stuff. Like, I was just like, where is this going? Like, I had to think on my feet, had to come up with a bunch of stuff. Even I believed some of the stuff that I was saying. I was just like, maybe he is Seth, because this sounds like him. I'm like, no, like this, I'm not even joking. That part, I kind of low-key, like, I'm just like, it sounds like him. It could be. I don't know. I do believe in past lives, but I don't know. The way they talk to him is like they have a temper, but they're holding it back. Like, they're like how you talk to a child that won't listen, and then the child's like la 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 la. Like, that's like, you know for a fact that they're not listening and they don't care. Like, whether they say it or not, you know that they, I sometimes I laugh at things that are serious that I should not laugh at. That is my way. Okay, I know people take that the wrong way, like, oh, this person's laughing at me. I laugh at my own self like that. I laugh at everything like that. I laugh at very serious situations because I do find it funny. It's not funny, but I know that. But this is not funny, but at the same time, this is a family in trouble. But like, at the same time, it's just like, it was kind of funny. It was. I find him to be funny, to be honest with you. Not like I'm laughing at you, like he's childish. And it's like, I'm not saying he's childish. Is all I'm gonna say. He's childish. He's a child. He's not childish. He is a child. He has a child mind. So, I mean, I feel for everybody here. Everybody here has it rough. I'm glad that I got to pull out. It's not my issue. I don't want to be involved. I'm not the only one that can do anything. It's like, maybe if someone is fixated on you, then they're like, oh, you should do it. No, you fucking do it. You're married. Why is this my responsibility? Like, what the hell? So it was just a weird. You guys have, maybe one day I'll talk about like the kind of conversations that happened, the kind of things that happened were so insane. I don't even know if they found it funny. Maybe it would have been funny if it wasn't your husband, your adult husband, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't. But anyway, I just wanted to share that and, you know, put everybody in the loop. All of these people here, Spirit constantly said these people do not like each other. And I got to see it myself. Like these were energies that wanted each other to suffer. All of them. Not just one or two, all of them. All of these people, like, I'm not joking. But anyway, that is it for tonight. People gotta watch the company that they keep and the things that they do. And, you know, I'm not the bad guy. I don't want to pull anybody from anywhere. It's not me. I don't do any of this stuff. They tried to manipulate me to make something work, and it wasn't even like recant your statements or anything like that. It wasn't. There wasn't no kind of strategy like that. Like there was a point where, anyway, let me just leave it alone, because I don't want. Anyway, have a good night. I hope this last part was interesting because I just wanted to get off my chest. I have been livid about this for a long time and been holding myself, and every time I want to say something, it's like my spirit physically holds my body back. And I'm just very happy that I stuck it out long enough to see some of the things that I did see, and everybody here needs healing and help, regardless of if you think you're in control of your faculties or not. There's other things going on, especially when you play with certain energies and spell work and stuff like that. Like, you're susceptible to pick up on these things. And then living in a house with demonic possession means the entity's in the house, and that means the entity's body hopping. It is body hopping everybody in that house. I don't care what they tell me. I know they're not all in the same house, but it's body hopping. And you can tell, you can see when it's using different people, when it's manipulating situations, like outside of whatever drama. Like, this needs to be addressed. This is crazy, and it's not my business, of course, but this is, even if they were to do what it is that they want to do here, this is a train wreck. This is not gonna, like, this is insane. Anyway, I hope you guys have a beautiful evening and a great night.